After Mohawk Mark showed Mark the absolute nightmare he had turned Angstrom into, Mark was straight up horrified. Mohawk Mark, on the other hand, just looked confused, like he couldn't understand why Mark was reacting this way. He thought this was exactly what Mark came to see, to make sure Angstrom was dead. He started rambling, saying that when he and the other variants were trapped in that hellhole of a dimension, they had a lot of time to reflect. They talked about what pushed them over the edge, what turned them into the monsters they became. For some, it was their fathers. For others, it was being raised on Viltrum. And then there were the ones who just had their eyes opened by something else entirely. But not our Mark. Not yet. Mohawk Mark scoffed, going on about how pathetic humans were, how they should be worshipping him. Angstrom had mentioned how shockingly few Invincibles ever actually stayed good. Before Mark could even process all that, Robot suddenly activated a high-pitched frequency, a sound so sharp and unbearable it sent shockwaves through the room, wrecking the Viltrumites' eardrums. He muttered an apology right before vaporizing one of the scientists' heads on the spot. Mark was stunned, trying to understand why Robot was doing this, but Robot ignored him, saying he'd explain soon. Without wasting a second, he launched a small metal ball straight into Mohawk Mark's mouth. With eerie calmness, Robot stated that it was over. The device was already burrowing into his esophagus, and unlike a Viltrumite's outer body, their insides were much weaker. Mohawk Mark barely had a second to react before the ball exploded. His entire face went up in gore, his eyes shooting out of their sockets like missiles. Mark could only scream in shock, demanding to know why, but there was no time for answers. Because this was just the beginning. Follow to see what happens next, because the series' final villain had just stepped onto the stage.